Let Him Cook. I'm just getting the live streams up like I do every week. You've seen me make before, but it's what the family wanted. So trying to make something that'll give them some leftovers for a few days because my mom doesn't keep food in the house anymore. Getting Instagram going here. I know we're up on YouTube. All right, we're up on both. So again, if you're just now joining us, welcome to this week's edition of Let Him Cook. I am not in Texas. I'm in Ohio this week. And a little bit of housekeeping at the top. We're going to do an audio leak of my brand new song, The Unchanging, that's coming out with Tehillah on the 26th. That's next Friday. So we're going to leak some of that today. I'm broadcasting from Ohio this week. There will not be a live stream next week because I'm going to be in another state. And there's just not logistics for that next week. So we're going to have a week off next week. But today, we're making some basic Japanese curry like we've done a few times in the past. Kind of making a double recipe because I'm trying to leave some leftovers for my mom and my grandpa. Also, we have kind of a new challenge for the thumbnail competition this week. I'm going to direct you to my Instagram story for that. We'll get into that once more of you are in here and hanging out, but we'll talk about that once we get there. So let's talk through tonight's recipe. Oh, I got to do one thing too. I got to plug in my computer, which is behind the camera, because if I don't want the battery to get super low while we're streaming and get us into trouble. So let's get that worked out here. Okay, so we are just doing the straight ahead Japanese curry recipe that is on the Golden Curry Box. Now we've done this as a crock pot recipe before, but we're going to do it the intended way this week by pan frying our stuff and putting it all together. Shout out to my mom. She already prepped the rice for us, so we're already good on that front. Like usual, I'm going to have a little message for the chat. Doing a little bit of copy paste stuff over here to the side. And let's do a test on YouTube. Awesome. All right, let's get into it. Let's read through this recipe. So this is pretty simple. We're going to need, we're doubling everything. So we're going to need 2 pounds of chicken, 26 ounces of onions, 6 ounces of carrots, 10 ounces of potatoes. Essentially, usually we end up using like half an onion and half a potato. So we're just going to use the whole potato today, which has already been pre-washed for us. We're going to use the whole onion and then 2 pounds of chicken, along with some cooking oil and a bunch of water, which we're essentially going to need like 4.5 cups of water. So now I'm starting to wonder if maybe I really and truly do just want to use a big pot. Let me see what I've got available here. I definitely have a big pot. So we're going to have that ready just in case we can saute and do our chicken and stuff in this pan and then kind of combine everything in this pot. It's just safe because it's deeper. All right, so we're going to stir fry the meat and vegetables with oil in a large skillet on medium heat for about 5 minutes. Add water and bring to a boil, reduce heat, and cover and simmer. Okay, so this is actually sort of a one-pot recipe. Arguably, we shouldn't need this particular pan. But I do need to find a lid for this pot because we're going to have to cover it. So I'm going to set this to the side. I think we're going to try to use this. This I can put a lid on. It's a little bit wider, so I should have more surface area for the chicken. Let's find a lid for it and then start prepping some ingredients. Got a viewer on YouTube that says, hey. Sorry, I don't exactly know how to pronounce your name, but what's up? Thanks for joining on YouTube. Perfect. Okay, that should work, assuming that can hold all of our water. I think before we get started, I'm going to do a test on that because I don't want to get in trouble halfway through this recipe. So we're going to need about 4.5 cups of water. I'm going to just measure that out and do a test to start with. While I'm used to being in my kitchen in Texas, I'm not even going to lie, being in Mom's kitchen is really nice because she has more stuff than I do. Stan says hello. Sky says hello. We got a lot of new viewers over on YouTube today. What's up, everybody? For those of you that are new, I'm a singer, songwriter, musician, got a lot of stuff on Spotify and on the radio, and I do this once a week cooking stream to just kind of hang out with folks, meet new people, and talk about music stuff, talk about deep spiritual stuff, talk about not deep stuff that I'm just geeking out at the time. You want to check out some new stuff? You want to check out some of my travel videos, some of my music, you can go to that link tree that I just put in the YouTube chat. All right, I don't think this is going to be a problem. The amount of water that I need, absolutely not going to be a problem. We're good there. Okay, well, we need to start by prepping all of our ingredients. Now, our chicken is not frozen today. It's been pre-thawed. Again, thank you, Mom. So that's pretty locked down. We'll do the chicken last, though, because you know what we say every week. I don't mess with raw chicken. So we're going to start with the potato and the onion on our cutting board, and then we'll rotate over to the chicken. Danny over on Instagram says, that looks like one cozy kitchen, and it reminds me of my mom's kitchen. Nothing like being at Mom's house. You're absolutely, absolutely right. This is the house I spent most of my life in, and I know this kitchen very well. But yeah, we've got everything you need, right? We got our knives, our toaster, got some cookies. Okay, Mom baked me some cookies for my birthday, and there's a whole other giant container of these babies. I'm so excited. I've kind of been eating like a trash panda the last few days, but I'm at Mom's house. What do you want? And then sinking the rest of the stuff on this side. And then I found out that this is the best place to have the camera because I can just sort of rotate between these two stations. Feels very official this way. Okay, let's get started. Prep some vegetables. Bring this trash can over here. Now, one thing I will say is I don't know the last time that Mom's knives are properly sharpened, so we're going to find out. We're going to find out what the state of these knives are pretty presently. Since we're working with a lot of stuff, I'm going to try and grab the biggest cutting board she has, which looks like this one. Yeah, it's pretty hefty. It's in pretty good shape. Gus Train over in YouTube land, it's your boy. How you doing, man? Are you finished working for the day? Without spilling all of Gus's personal details, I know that he's out of town from his regular Element 2. He's been doing some work stuff, working on some big diesel vehicles. So hopefully you're chilling for the day. I would think so at this time of the night, but I know sometimes job sites can get a little crazy. Now it's time to play. What's the biggest knife that I can find? That's pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, once we get a few more of our regulars in here, I have some, well, it depends who comes tonight. But I have a special challenge for our thumbnail competition this week. And I guess arguably, folks don't even have to watch the stream to participate, but I wanted to throw a twist in. And I have to have a heart-to-heart conversation with you guys about last week's thumbnail competition too. But I'll wait until we got more folks hanging out with us tonight. But I think if we don't do it this week, we'll do it another week. But I think what I want to do is do at least 1 week of the thumbnail challenge where people are not allowed to use AI. AI is perfect for this type of thing that we do because it's not that serious. It's not that deep. So of course, it's fun to just play with it for that. But I think probably this week or maybe the next time we do a stream, the special rule is going to be no AI usage. You can sketch the thumbnail by hand. I posted in my Instagram story a still image of me holding a pan. But I think I want to start throwing some extra twist into the competition to change things up on you guys. We discovered over the last few weeks that white onions don't hit me nearly as hard as the red onions do, so I'm going to just get straight in on this onion. No fear. Gus says, you're going to have like 2 submissions like that, dog. Well, here's the thing. Here's what I'm thinking, though. They will still have an image to screenshot in my Instagram story. So they can edit it in any software that they like, or they can just reference it. Or they can just add their own text to it. So that's kind of the thought process. That's kind of my thought process. But we'll talk about last week's thumbnail competition and this week's thumbnail competition here starting soon. We got JL Cloudfelter and Abby just jumped into the chat. What's up, guys? I've just kind of been giving an overview. Like I said, this week we're going to do an audio leak of the new song with Tehillah. I've got that already queued up and ready. And I think I'm going to introduce some funky rules to this week's thumbnail competition. And we also need to have a heart-to-heart talk about last week's thumbnail competition because I think I messed something up in the voting. And I want to be honest and forthright about it so that we do it correctly. Wow, this angle had me tricked, bro. I thought this was Texas. Nope, I'm in Ohio. I am in the 513, the Cincinnati area this week. And then I will be out of state, in a different state next week. So I don't believe we're going to have a live stream next week. I'm talking so much because I'm having a really hard time getting the skin off of this onion, which normally does not take me this long, but this outer husk is sticky this time. There we go. Francisco jumping in. Abby says, I love the red Keurig. Yeah, that's my mom's Keurig over there. Okay, since a lot of our regulars are here, let me tell you what I was thinking for this week's thumbnail competition. I posted an image to my Instagram story just a few minutes ago. So instead of me hitting an awkward pose, for 10 seconds here, I want you to just screenshot that. And here's the thought that I had. What if this week you're not allowed to use any AI tools? Now you can use any other tools that you want. You can use Photoshop, you can use the image editor on your phone, you can just add some text to it. You can even hand draw a thumbnail and make something hilarious just referencing that. But I thought, what if I start throwing some wrenches into the mechanics even more week over week? AI usage would come back. This is the monkey wrench for this week. So let me know what you guys think about it. But I thought about doing that. For this week, for today. Jenny over on Instagram says hi. Tell brother I said hello. Grandpa, your sister says hi. Jenny's watching the stream on Instagram. JL says let's go. I'm in. Okay, are we cool with that? Because again, you can do the dumbest doodle you want, or you can take that picture and you can add text to it. I think I want to start changing it up on you guys week over week and add some restrictions to increase your blossoming creativity. And I think it could shake up who wins week over week. Not that I have a problem with someone winning more than 1 week at a time. It's kind of like, you guys remember when the Patriots were always winning the Super Bowl, really, really often? And people got mad about it. They were like, oh, I'm just tired of the same team winning every year. My response to that was, I do understand that, especially if you're a fan of a different team. I get how that could be frustrating. But if I was on the Patriots, I wouldn't apologize for winning 1 year after another. I would keep trying to win. Would that make me the bad guy? Really and truly, would it make me the bad guy? No, it wouldn't. So, in the same way, I'm not going to try to stop someone from winning more than once, but if I can give other people a chance by changing up the obstacle course, so to speak, I want to do that too. Gus puts prompt in chat. Make it look hand-drawn. Yeah, no, I didn't do Tuesday this week because I'm in Ohio and my schedule has been kind of flip-flopped around a lot this week. And next week, like I said, I'll be in Colorado next week, so it's a whole thing. Okay. Abby says you are literally giving Jacob the advantage. I don't know. Abby, I've seen the things you've drawn on coffee cups. You can use Canva. You can use the color editor on your phone. Okay, let's do it. Let's do an experiment and let's see how it goes. And if this doesn't work, if it's awkward, we'll just change it up and do something different next week. But as I also thought about, okay, well, what if in the future the rule is you can use AI, but you can only prompt it one time instead of iterating? I don't know how I can enforce these rules. I guess it's just an honor system. But so let's do that. This week, you can use any tool, any medium, anything you want, but you can't use AI. Just screenshot that photo that is in my Instagram story at Samuel Day Official right now. That's our twist for this week. Abby says there's an AI on Canva. It's hard to escape right now, right? It's everywhere. Or let's say this, you can't use generative AI. Like if there's some mechanical help in you color grading or something, fine. But text, visual elements, anything beyond just like tweaking colors or whatever, you got to do it yourself. But again, you can also just look at the picture and do a doodle. I think it would be hilarious to see everybody's doodles and the best doodle wins. No, since I'm already no theme. So since I'm already limiting you in this way, I wanted to leave the rest of it open. So I'm not being particular to a theme this week. All right, I think this onion is looking pretty good. I'm going to chop it up a little bit more where I can. This knife is in pretty good shape, sharpness-wise, so I'm happy about that. So I am, I'm looking forward to next Friday. That's when the next new song comes out. We've had 3 drops so far this year. Through the Night, Stay, and You Are Always Good. Next week, new song called The Unchanging with Tehillah drops. And here a little bit further into the stream, we'll do an audio leak of that. Just trying to cut up these onions so that they spread well. Okay, that looks pretty good. Just kind of get these layers separated. All right. Yes. This looks good. Abby says, I'm going to use Facetune on you then. You're about to get a facelift and lipo. Well, as long as there's no BBL involved, I guess I can live with that. And if you don't know what that is, you don't need to. All right, put our onions there in our pan. Let's start working on this potato. Smash them, mash them, stick them in a stew. Jenny says, love you all, gotta run. Thanks for jumping in. Appreciate that you were here. Francisco says, guys, I'm officially done with high school. Congratulations, man. Congratulations. What's the difference between congratulations and congratulation? One versus plural. Does it matter? Because really I'm only saying it one time. Take that apart. Somebody look up the etymology of congratulations for me. Meat and vegetables with oil in a large skillet on medium heat. I think what I'm going to do, and I didn't actually even put our cooking oil in yet. Let's go ahead and do that before I get out ahead of my skis. Have you been using the coconut oil for cooking? Have you been using the coconut oil for cooking? Yeah, that shouldn't hurt anything. Curry with a little bit of a coconut twist is never a bad thing. Thai cooking does it all the time. Cool. Jacob says, Sam, can you give a Super Saiyan manly charge up yelling sound like right now? I'll just record it. What is this for? Is this for a project you're working on? You just need me to be like, I would have to very much get in character, and then I would have to explain to my grandfather what the heck I'm doing over here if I did that. Hey, David, I thought there was a cute AI image I made of you this week. And anything inappropriate was completely unintentional, and I went back and fixed it. But it was cute. The prompt was like, the prompt I gave it was Bob the Builder art style. Jacob says, let's hear it. I feel like that's something where, in order to not damage my voice, I would also need to like warm up my vocal fry. You know, something like that with some grit in it, you know. I need to get a pencil and do some warm-ups and stuff to just get in the zone. You know, just really send it, but I'm not warmed up for that right now either. Jacob says yes, but I need it to be loud and no TV in the background. I can send that to you later. I can, after the stream is over, I can like grab my phone and run to the basement and doing it. But I'm going to create a domestic disturbance if I do it in this kitchen with my family, like watching TV 15 feet away. Yes, it 100% did just add the wording. I didn't ask it to add the wording. I told it to give me art in the style of Bob the Builder, and it took it from there. Okay, got some cooking oil in there. I just want to make sure that it's in the bottom of my pan because it's going to be critical later on that the chicken can make like direct contact with the pan, and there's going to be a lot of chicken. So I'm trying to sort of group these vegetables together so that I've got a little pocket to squeeze my chicken into. And I need a little bit more on the brief of this sound that you need, Jacob. Is there like a slow charge up to it? Is it, I'm starting, it's building, and it's coming up and it's explosive? Or is it like straight into, like what are the dynamics of the performance that you need? This is very important. I want to get this right. And is it? I need to get in the headspace. Is it painful? Is the process painful, or is it purely like machismo and empowering? Is it all positive but just intense? I don't know if you guys have ever seen my potato dicing method, but you cut the potato in half and then in half again, and you end up with these kind of flat quarters. And then you cut those in half. And then I'm going to cut those into strips like French fries almost. And then you can dice those. Okay, Jacob says, like a 1 second raising pitch loud charge up, like you're about to rage out. Okay, 1 second. So it's like somebody's playing a video game, they hit Q, and it's like the call out for a character's ultimate, right? Just like, something like that, right? Quick to the point, but with a little bit like moderate sustain. Got it. Got it. Oh my gosh, I'm struggling with this potato. I need to turn this thing sideways. I don't want my cutting board to fall off the counter on me. So, for those of you who don't know, not that everything is about me, but Saturday's my birthday. I have to work on Saturday. That's the day I will be out in another state doing some work for a conference. But It is my birthday, so that'll be cool. And I'm thinking maybe when I get back to Texas, I can potentially plan something, something hopefully inclusive that people can come to. But I'm going to be honest with you. One of the things I'm really starting to get a little fatigued with is social situations where you have to shout to hear and be heard. So like stuff in loud rooms. I'm just getting really tired of people having to yell at me and then me still not hearing them the first 3 times, or me having to yell all night long in order to be heard. It just feels fatiguing on both my ears and my voice. So I'm kind of wondering if whatever I do, especially if like a lot of people can attend, if it shouldn't be something potentially outdoors, right? Because outside, you don't have that sound buildup in the same way you would at like some kind of party place or a restaurant or something, you know? Oh, those potatoes are dicing up so well. That looks great. I feel so official. So I was thinking about the deep thought of the week for this week, and I didn't so much have a deep thought on my own as I know there's something that is being debated, or at least talked about a lot on the internet right now, because of some things that have happened in some corners of the church this week. And I don't need to be coy about that. I guess there was some kind of decision about, I don't know if it was the Baptist Convention or the Southern Baptist Convention, and their stance about women teaching and women in ministry. And I recommend this book to people all the time, and what's tricky about it is I don't think that it's actually in print anymore. But there's a book I read years ago. It's called I Didn't Mean for My Scriptures to Hurt You, Love Jesus. It's written by a guy named Edwin Stewart, who was a minister. I say was because he may still be alive. I don't know for certain if he is. He was a minister, but he was also an attorney. So very high IQ guy, and really did his research into the original Greek of a lot of the scriptures in the Bible, especially the letters of Paul, like to Timothy and the Corinthians, where it seems like Paul is saying that women needed to sit down and be quiet in the church. And some of the things that one of the best things that he rooted out, and some other studiers have rooted out, is that Paul was writing to Timothy about a particular distress going on in that church at that time. A lot of the women, a lot of the females in that church were former acolytes or priestesses of the Temple of Diana. And essentially what that meant is that depending on, now it depends on whose research you read, but so I'm kind of amalgamating a lot of different research. But most of this is covered in that book. And depending on their level in the Temple of Diana, many of them would have shaved their heads because I guess that was like level 1, right? And so that's why you get Paul writing these scriptures where he's telling the women to grow their hair out. It wasn't some indictment against women ever having short hair ever in the future, but at that time, them having their heads shaved was an indication that they were streetwalkers. And he was saying that's not your life anymore. You need to indicate differently that that's not what you do. I've even seen some people say, and even the conversations he has about modesty, where he talks about plaited hair and wearing fancy clothes, wasn't saying don't look good in church, you need to just be plain Jane. I've seen some researchers say that there were other levels of priestesshood in that pagan temple, where that they then would grow their hair out and do specific ornate things to indicate the level that they were at. But they did a lot of freaky stuff in the Temple of Diana. And so essentially Paul was saying, Timothy, in your church, you have all these women who have never been allowed to have formal education. They have not been walking with Jesus for very long, so they need to sit down and be quiet because they have not ever been able to learn. They need to take the time to learn. He wasn't precluding women from ministry and from leadership for the whole history of the church for all time. there's definitely a lot more to unpack. It's a small book, but it's very packed with, like, again, original Greek and cultural context and things of that nature. But I thought it was really, really helpful on that subject. And it's something where I've heard people have some debates about this before. I'm going to go ahead and break out the chicken, by the way. I've heard people have some debates before who have said, they're like, I don't have anything against women. I just want to follow the word of God. And to be honest, like, I can respect that. People wanting to just, even if it makes them uncomfortable, wanting to do the right thing. But you should know that the way that has been interpreted or perceived has just been incorrect for generations. And if you do some of the research, you can find that out. Because elsewhere in the Bible, you have the first evangelist was a woman. You have people like Aquila and Priscilla. You have women involved in Jesus' ministry all over the place. So there's a lot of evidence for women being able to teach and preach and lead all throughout the Bible. And those specific scriptures, while they seem to say one thing, are actually addressing a very specific situation in a place and time. All right, we got to work on this chicken. We have 2 pounds of chicken that we got to deal with and get cut. Is this 2 pounds of chicken? Or is it more? I hope it's not more. It's a lot of chicken. I don't have a food scale. Excuse me, I'm going to ask my mom a question. Hey, is this 2 pounds or is this more than 2 pounds of chicken? Do you know? So you want me to just use it all? Okay. We're going to use it all. So I got to get this, I got to get this prepped. So Francisco just graduated from high school. Got other people graduating from other things, or just gearing up for the summer. Summer and Christmas can both be such busy times. Christmas, because of all the Christmas festivities, plays, special services, things like that. But summer kind of comes with its own trappings, especially in the church world. Camp meetings, conventions, crusades, concert tours. I've been really looking at all of the different things that I could be doing over the summer, and I've been having to pump the brakes recently because it's like the more people you know, the more businesses, activities, churches, organizations that you are acquainted with or even affiliated with, the more opportunity there is to just overload yourself in the summer. Is anybody else experiencing that right now, where you're really having to be selective about what you allow onto your schedule at this time? That's something that I've been dealing with recently. And I think the most difficult thing about it is that it's like it's all good things. Like none of it are things you necessarily want to say no to. But at a certain point, you kind of have to, for the sake of your own bandwidth. And especially if you're like me, I'm in a position where right now I'm, aside from just putting out new music, trying to build some things behind the scenes that require logistics and time in their own right. And so that's been a big consideration for me a lot lately. Also, I've been thinking about travel vlogs again. I already mentioned that I'm going to be in Colorado next week, and which means I'm going to be able to shoot a travel vlog while I'm there. Most of it's going to be for work, so I'm not really going to be recording anything for my channels during that time. But I have a couple of extra days, and that is going to yield some content. So it tells me I need to go back and keep finishing out some of the travel vlogs I was revisiting a few months ago, because I still am working through like my Ireland series, stuff like that. Also, I'm going to have some guests with me I guess it's not necessarily a secret. JL and Sarah are going to be with me for part of that, for that Colorado trip. And so it's going to be more, the content will be more fun because there's more people involved. You all have been unusually quiet in the chat, and I don't know if it's because it's Thursday night or if it's because you're all working really hard on your thumbnails. I didn't mean to give you like a really tough homework assignment. I'm just trying to change things up. But I do think we have to have a heart-to-heart talk about what happened with the thumbnail last week. So here's what happened. At the end of the initial round of voting last week, we had a tie between JL and Abby. And so we did a tiebreaker. And then I realized that I had made a mistake because there were some messages, some people had sent in some votes that had gone not into my main inbox. And this is one of the problems with doing inbox voting, is that I can make mistakes and I do my best not to, but that had gone to my general inbox, not my primary, and I hadn't seen them. So it turns out there actually was not a tie last week. What was very interesting, and I'm just going to be really honest with you for the plot, for the drama here, is that there was actually a winner from last week's primary voting. Then, in the quote-unquote tiebreaker voting, the winner flip-flopped to somebody else. But here's the problem. We would have never had the tiebreaker voting if I had seen the other votes in the first place in the primary voting. So I think I have to go with the winner from the primary voting of the first round, because again, the tiebreaker would have just never happened. I think that's what I have to do, right? If I'm going to be consistent, if I'm going to be fair. Oh, now the chat's starting to perk up. Now we're talking about okay, hang on. JL says, I'm actually working, but not on the thumbnail. And Abby says, I'm drawing right now. Okay, no, that's fine. I know that a lot of times people will put this on while they're doing other things. I don't expect you to just stare at me chopping chicken. It's exactly what I would be doing. I'd be working on other stuff. I'd be doing homework. I would be doing client work. I'd be working on my own business while just having this playing in the background. So that's perfectly fine. But that's the tea. That's the drama about last week's thumbnail competition, which is why you haven't seen me post anything about the winner yet, because I felt like, shoot, I should just explain this to them on the stream so that they don't think I'm going back and forth or doing anything, playing any favorites or anything. That's what happened. So I will still post about that. We will still get that taken care of. But that's what happened. Did anybody see the newest Spider-Man trailer, the brand new day trailer that just dropped today? Looks really good. I'm excited about the direction they're going in. I mean, it's definitely still a lot of scope and scale to the movie, but in comparison to the other ones, it is a lot more street level, which I love. And don't get me wrong, I really like movies with big scale and big stakes, but I don't think you can make it, or should make every movie that. It's like Daredevil. Like, I don't necessarily want to regularly see Daredevil fighting like alien world-ending level threats. His stories work best on the street, you know? And I think Spider-Man kind of falls into a sometimes situation there, but we've almost never really gotten to see Tom Holland's Spider-Man with a more street-level story. So I'm hoping that's really, because we see him kind of fighting, you know, the Ninja Clan. I always forget if they're called the Foot or the Hand, because either I think Marvel calls theirs the Hand, because Ninja Turtles, their evil ninja coalition in the Ninja Turtles universe, is called the Foot. It's one, like they played off of each other. Jacob says, no, I didn't. No spoilers. Who's Drax in the chat? Abby, let's rock, paper, scissors for it. I'll put my pick in the Insta chat and you put yours in this chat, so neither of us knows who sends what. No, I won't spoil anything, but it does. But it does look good. That's all I'm saying is it does look good. And apparently, Jacob, you were a fan of the games. I remember. I was too. I've just only played the first one so far. I intend to play the other one sometime soon. But there's a move that he does in the trailer that apparently is actually directly taken from the PS4 games. It's one of his like later on, like you have to level up type attacks. I think it's called Web Blossom, but you see him do it in the trailer, which is just a cool nod. It's like nice that they show some awareness of the other medium. Oh, I'm not getting through. There we go. This is a lot of chicken, guys. I hope that pot's big enough. I know it's going to reduce some, but still. Sheesh. I'm almost wondering if I shouldn't do the chicken. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do the chicken in its own container and then mix it together with the vegetables after I've kind of started to get it cooked. Because you already know I don't mess around with raw chicken. And I know you're supposed to do this kind of together with the vegetables, but I'm going to look over the recipe one more time because it's been a few weeks since I've made it, but I just want to be safe that I don't set myself up in a situation where this chicken doesn't cook all the way through properly. And I know most of the time I'm more in danger of overcooking than undercooking, but other people are going to eat this and I just want to be very safe about it. All right, I think we're pretty well cut up there. Wet hand, dry hand. I did it. But now I got to wash both of them to be safe. Well, do I? Because I still got to get that. Yeah, because I got to set up the pan. So there's still going to be a couple of rounds of hand washing here. I'm trying to stand up a little straighter. I realize that when I'm cooking, and you guys get the worst angle of it too. Like I slowly start just like shrimping, trying to like stay upright and open and still use my hands in front of me. Okay, let's check on some strategy here. Let's see how we want to do this. Oh my gosh, are you guys actually dueling for the win here? I thought I was just going to have to go with whoever won the first round of voting. Is this the way we want to decide this, or are you guys going to like rock, paper, scissors, Mortal Kombat your way? Okay. So, okay, I'm looking at... I'm just now having to read the terms of your duel here that you've agreed to, which I think is beautiful for the plot. So for those of you who are watching, Jacob, they're playing rock, paper, scissors for the win from last week's thumbnail. Jacob has put his weapon of choice into the Instagram chat. Abby has put her weapon into YouTube. And this is the way we're settling this, which is actually sort of hilarious. So Jacob says, Sam, let us know who won. I'm not reading YouTube until then. Okay, here we go. Over on Instagram, Jacob's weapon of choice is paper. Over on YouTube, Abby's weapon of choice is scissors. So it looks like, in the terms of this duel upon which they came up with on their own, it looks like Abby's our winner this time. If that's the rules you guys wanted to play by, that's actually kind of cool. That's kind of neat. I wouldn't have thought of that. So, yeah. All right. Cool. Love you both. All right. I have so much chicken and I don't know. Let me read over this one more time. Let's see if I can kind of safely do this. Stir fry meat and vegetables with oil in a large skillet on medium heat for approximately 5 minutes. That's a lot of chicken. And then we're going to add water and bring to a boil and simmer. Okay, here's what I think I'm going to do. We're going to use 2 different vessels to start with. We're going to do the chicken and the vegetables separately for that initial 5 minutes, just so that I make sure I'm kind of generally getting the chicken safely. And then I'll combine them here, put a lid on it, and do the rest. I think that's probably the safest way to go about this. So let me get this week's big pan. Hoya. Get these both heated up here. Put them on high heat. This is a glass countertop, glass cooktop. So I'm going to preheat that a little bit, get some oil in both. Oh wait, you guys did multiple rounds? Oh, no, no, no. Okay, you did one round of rock, paper, scissors here, but you want to know who won. So if I remember correctly, actually in the initial voting, Jacob would have won because of the extra votes I didn't see until after I posted the tiebreaker. So I was going to have to say, well, fair and square, Jacob would have won. But then when I posted the tiebreaker, it flipped. And I'll go back and check my archive again to be sure, but the last time I had checked it, Abby had actually won the tiebreaker. So it was interesting, like we had a 1-1 result. So I guess that makes this rock, paper, scissors your round 3. Got it. Slater over in Instagram says, what's up? What's up? S. Slater. Do I know this person? I don't know if I know this person, but thank you for joining. See if I can very carefully get like a wooden spoon or spatula. Yeah, we're gonna use a wooden spoon here. Move these vegetables around, get them coated in our coconut oil. Just kind of get that started. And again, we said that is for the initial medium heat. Well, let's bring that down to maybe a 7 then, I guess. And then we can get the chicken added to this other one here. All right, we are on our way. Oh, I forgot to add our carrots. I'll throw some carrots in here. I got the carrots pre-cut though, so there's nothing really to do except for just kind of pour some in. Ah! Carrots on the floor. Looking like a fool with your carrots on the floor. Stir these in. Separate some of those onions too in the process. Spread it all out, make sure we're getting as much even contact on the cooking surface as we can. And let's add the chicken because that pan's starting to smoke a little bit. These are higher quantities than I'm used to working with. Makes me feel very official, very mature, cooking for multiple people today. Ah! Awesome. Awesome. So we'll do that for 5 minutes. We'll do that until 8:55. And then we'll combine these and put a lid on them. Perfect. Perfect. Some of my potatoes are starting to stick to the pan over here. Keep it moving around a little bit. Get it coated in the oil too. So, kind of continuing on that deep thought of the day, that issue of debate, right, about women in ministry, women in the church. I've also heard people say, well, okay, I hear you where you're talking about that. Women can teach, but can they be pastors? And I've heard even like people who believe that women can be pastors still say, well, I'm willing to re-examine the scripture about that. That's one where I go a little bit more toward anecdotal evidence on that one. That my grandmother was a pastor. And there was a lot of disapproval from some people about that. But if it wasn't for her choice to do that, I really don't know where I would be. She impacted my life forever because of her leadership. I don't know where I would be in my faith or otherwise if it wasn't for her sticking it out through that decision. Now, people will say, yeah, but this biblical scriptures about pastoring and leadership are more pointed at men. They talk about being the husband of one wife, da-da-da-da-da. I get that. I hear that, and I understand that point of consideration. And if you're just trying to approach that humbly and respectfully, I appreciate that. But what I don't see in those scriptures is a preclusion from women doing that. I don't see it saying that they cannot. And as I said in the reel that I posted earlier this week, does it seem like men are more often have a natural bent toward that type of leadership? Yes, on average. But there are outliers. Move this chicken around a little bit. Try and get these pieces turned over. What about you guys? Maybe even changing the subject a little bit. You guys have any deep thoughts of the week? You know, I knew a guy, good friend in my life. He passed away a few years ago. His name was Dick Johnson. He was a minister. He traveled with his wife Penny for many years. And something he would ask me all the time that honestly annoyed me when he asked me, but it was a legitimate question, is he would ask me, he's like, Sam, what's the Lord been talking to you about lately? And every time I saw him, especially if I didn't quite know, like I may have had things I was focusing on, but I didn't quite always have an answer to that question, it sort of annoyed me because I was like, oh, Dick's coming into town, he's going to ask me this question, I better have an answer for him. And he was never mean-spirited about it. He wasn't trying to put the screws to me. But he would ask that question pretty often. And so while, I usually come to this live stream trying to be equipped with a deep thought of the week, do you guys have a deep thought of the week? Is there something that has occurred to you recently that you've been thinking about? That God has been talking to you about? Or even just something that, maybe was something that you've learned recently that's really sticking for you at this time? Drop it in the chat if you've got one. Meanwhile, listen to the beautiful sounds of my sizzle textures. Hear that in the mic? That's wonderful. I am a Foley artist. We're coming up on 5 minutes here. This chicken is not cooked all the way through, but it's definitely looking healthy. It's going in the right direction. Abby says, I just finished the thumbnail. I decided against the BBL. Well, I thank you for that. Thank you for that. I don't think it would have done my proportions any favors. Abby, I just got yours. That's hilarious. I love that. Okay, I think it's time to combine these two things. Add some water and get a lid on it. Yeah. Okay. Turn off that. Get these mixed together. I still want the chicken near the bottom of the pan here so that it can continue to cook a little bit more directly. And then let's do a music leak. Let's leak some music. There we go. Nice, beautiful medley of chicken and vegetables. No spices added yet, though. Not yet. So, we need to add the water, bring to a boil. So, let's crank up that heat, and we're going to need 4.5 cups because we're doubling this recipe. So, this holds about 4 cups, so we're going to have to go back and forth at least once. There's 4 cups, and we need another half cup here. I like being able to swivel the camera back and forth between stations. That feels nice. That feels good. Okay, so we need to bring this up to a boil before we cover it. Right now it's kind of just sitting here with a little bit of steam, like a slug. If you've never made this before, the recipe honestly is pretty easy and it's printed on the box. I like this Golden Curry brand. You can honestly find it at Walmart. Japanese curry is one of my favorite types of curry, I'm finding out, because it's very savory. So I recommend this. Not a sponsor yet. Because I believe you add the curry cubes at the very end. Yes. I know that this is like I said, this is a weirder time for us to be doing the live stream. We have a very consistent rhythm of Tuesday nights usually. That's intentional because that way I have leftovers going into the week for most of the week, but just didn't quite work out this week. One of the things I love about being home, though, here in the Cincinnati area in Ohio, is I can go to all of my favorite restaurants. There are some great restaurants in Texas. There's some great places in DFW, but most of my favorite places are still here. My favorite Vietnamese restaurant is here. One of my favorite pizza places is here. There's another great one in Texas. Hideaway is pretty awesome. But there's 2 really great pizza places here. One is Pies and Pints, which I think they have multiple locations, but there's one of them that I know of. And then Old Scratch Pizza in Dayton I'm finding is also very, very high quality pizza. Great ingredients. They have a pizza called the Angry Beekeeper that is like a margarita style pizza slathered in honey. It's so good. I'm trying to get this up to a boil, man. We got to turn up the heat. It's just sitting here on me. Don't waste my time, bro. I guess this leaves me no choice but to take a cookie break. I gotta halftime this cookie. Once we get this covered, we'll do a little audio leak. JL says, I don't know if this is already mentioned, but I have never even watched The Last Let Him Cook. I literally just stole y'all's submissions and made my own. Yeah, and JL is a regular in here. He's almost always in the stream, but I know he was busy the last time that we did it, and that's okay. It's not required that anybody comes to the stream. But yeah, he didn't watch it. He just saw the submissions and went, all right, I'm going to get in on this action. Abby says, I have you and the Mexico versus South Korea game on right now. Okay, Abby, I know that you've been sharing with me all of your fun experiences of seeing, because in the DFW area, there's so many people from different countries right now because of the World Cup games happening there. So we have, I think, a lot of Japanese people in Texas, a lot of Mexican people, which, I mean, there's already like a higher volume of Mexican people in Texas just because of where it geographically is located. But a lot of Asian folks are in town right now. And I'm so excited for when I get back, because I would love to just run into a gaggle of Japanese folks and get them all listening to my music and make a bunch of new friends. But one of the things that you've been sharing with me and that I've seen going around the internet is people having their, like, living their American dreams, visiting the country for the first time. And there's this tweet by this Japanese man who goes to a Mexican restaurant for the first time. And the idea of free refills or free chips and salsa coming out during or before a meal is foreign to some of these folks in the countries that they're in. And there's this very, like, old samurai poetic tweet that he made about being defeated by the hospitality that is never-ending chips and salsa, that is so poetic. And the thing that I saw going around on TikTok was actors doing dramatic readings of this text. So I think that's something I need to do. Abby says, Argentinians were the first people that I met, so I hope they win because they were so excited. She says, Alex sat next to some English dudes on his plane. Love that. Okay, so this is coming to a boil now. Once it comes to a boil, I need to reduce the heat and simmer. Cover and simmer until ingredients are tender. It's approximately 15 minutes. So at 9:15, we'll uncover that. So, we have 2 orders of business. First, let's do a little audio leak. I want you guys to hear the end portion of my newest song, The Unchanging, which is dropping on June 26th. Share it with all your friends, and it's with our good friend Tehila. Tehila just moved out to St. Louis. She's doing really well over there. But we managed to get together and do some recording together in Texas before she headed out. And I'm so psyched about this because she's somebody that almost since day one of meeting her, I knew I wanted to do a collaboration with her. So let's leak some music before it comes out next week. Here we go. Sorry, I went to the wrong scene for a second there. But that is a pretty big taste of the new song that's dropping next Friday. I'm so excited about it. I'm excited for you to hear Tehila's verse on her own. It's very dancey. It's very summer vibes. And so I thought that it's the beginning of the summer. This is the time to drop it. We're excited, and that's going to be the 4th drop of the year. I really am invested in putting out music a lot more often than I used to now. I want to be very serious about it. So I'm just pumped. Show Tehila some love over on Instagram. Show her Spotify page some love. Give her a follow. And if you're not already following me in this project already, what are you doing? Okay, I found that tweet, though, from that Japanese guy, and I'm going to put my actor's hat on for a moment. This apparently, I guess we can't call it a tweet. Twitter died years ago. It's now X. But it's a social media post from a Japanese gentleman who went to a Mexican restaurant and had an experience that challenged his Japanese sensibilities of collectivism and hospitality. So I'm going to do a dramatic reading of this. And I think I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it as maybe an anime protagonist type of reading here. USA, a Mexican restaurant. We had not yet ordered anything, and the food was already arriving. Chips, salsa, unrequested, free. I stopped the waiter. We have not earned these. They just come with the table, man. They come with the table. In my land, hospitality is a debt. Every gift creates an obligation, weighted carefully, returned in the proper season with interest of feeling. Here, the gift arrives before you even have proven that you can pay for dinner. This is not an appetizer. This is a declaration. We trust you. Eat. I ate with the gravity the moment deserved, and then I must report this calmly. The basket emptied, and a new one appeared. Did we... Refill, the waiter said. It's bottomless. Bottomless. They have wells of salsa? The supply lines of this nation are beyond anything my ancestors imagined. My friend warned me. Don't fill up on chips, dude. Too late. I had accepted 3 baskets. Honor demanded each one be finished. An unfinished gift would be an insult. By the time my actual food arrived, I was a ruined man. I was not hungry. I was not comfortable. I had been defeated by a courtesy. Generosity that arrives before the request cannot be repaid. It can only be survived. I know the rule now. I've made my peace with the basket. 1 basket, 2 at the most. Who am I deceiving? There's no number of baskets I would refuse. The trust of a nation is in that salsa. And I intend to honor all of it. Can you believe this post? This post is wonderful. So much to unpack there. Abby says the Koreans are wearing light purple uniforms. I know I'm Mexican, but I'm going based on the color of this one. Okay, so you're rooting for Koreans because purple. Well, you'll be happy to know that purple is my mom's favorite color too. So you're in good company. Okay, this is simmering. That's a little hot. I'm gonna grab a pot holder and move things around just a touch. A little bit every once in a while. There we go. Yeah, tell me that's not the most epic. Like, I've been defeated by a courtesy. The trust of a nation is in that salsa, and I intend to honor all of it. You know? Like I would read it in like the world-weary samurai voice, but it's so long, you know. The trust of a nation is in that salsa, and I intend to honor all of it. That would be a multiple take endeavor. We've got about 5 more minutes left on this to simmer it down, and then we'll add those curry cubes and get it finished up. I'm gonna break for a cookie. Are there any of you in the chat right now that actually really have a team that you for sure want to win the World Cup? And I'm assuming most of my viewers right now are from the United States, so you can say US, but you don't have to. And if so, why? Like, what's fueling your pick? Is it because you followed the team for a long time? Is it because you have ancestry from that country? Or is it because you like the color of their jerseys? Or because you like their culture or the way that their people are behaving? If you have a dog in this fight, if you have a preference in this World Cup, who is it and why? Francisco says, no thumbnail tonight for me. That's too hard without AI. That's okay. No pressure. I will tell you, though, that it can be very childish and silly. Like, it can be stick figures. It can be MS Paint. You can double down on it being bad if you want to. Like, I'm going to make this so bad that it's funny. If you want to do that, you can. Because you never know the different senses of humor we're going to get voting this week. I'm going to have to find a way to squirrel as many of these cookies as I can into my checked bag. Jacob says, did you ever give us a theme? Was it BBLs? No, I never gave you a theme because I have given you such a hard limitation by not allowing the use of AI this week. I didn't want to give you other limitations. So the theme, it's your universe. However you want to take it. I trust you. Abby says, he says that because that's what mine was. Well, we'll take a look at Abby's submission here in a few minutes. It's hilarious. If you want to use an online tool to cut me out from the background, that's not AI, that's just a tool. If you want to use an online tool to cut me out from the background and slap me on a blockbuster movie cover or put me just surrounded by 1990s clip art, that's fine. Okay, give this about one more minute, and then we'll be at 9:15, which will make it about 15 minutes since we started simmering. Now this lid, you can see there's some steam coming here, but this lid, unlike the lid I have at my apartment, doesn't have a hole in it. So this hasn't reduced quite as much as it would have if we had had a lid with a kind of a steam release. But it should still reduce quite a bit once I just take the lid off regardless. All right, let's go ahead and remove this lid. It's been about 15 minutes. That's going to start to reduce down pretty quickly without a lid on it. And then it's going to take about another 5 minutes. We're going to break up these curry cubes. Do that while they're still in the package, honestly. Really kind of work it down. So I'm just breaking this up while it's in the package. Like it's a big chocolate bar, basically. Peel that open. Here's your satisfying render challenge of the day if you're a fan of Corridor Digital. So there it is. Yeah, there it is. Okay. So see, we've kind of broken it up into the cubes. We're just going to drop those in there, and we're going to mix those in until they become sauce. Where's the sauce? Where's the lamb sauce? Who said that? All right. So now with that heat and some motion, this is going to turn from water into something like a broth. into a nice thick Japanese curry sauce. And since our rice is already done on the end, that's basically it. That's the recipe. That'll make it finished. So that's going to take about another 5 minutes or so. I'm going to let those cubes heat up a little bit, and then I'll come back to stirring in a moment. While we do that, let's wash this cutting board over here. Now we had a lot of raw chicken on here, so I'm trying to do my best to make sure I kind of get the whole thing rinsed off, and then we'll obviously, we'll use soap and stuff. And I realize that me just saying soap and stuff probably did not give you all a lot of confidence. We have dish soap down here. Everything is going to be fine. Okay, that is dish detergent. I was double checking. I just pulled something random out of the cabinet. And I definitely need to scrub this with something, but I don't know if that's just a bottle brush there, so I'm going to check on what I should use. I'll be right back. Do you have a particular sponge you want me to use on the cutting board or a brush or anything? I did do raw chicken on it, so I thought I'd check before I'm using dish detergent, obviously, but... Okay, that's what I thought. I saw you cleaning it off with the bleach water earlier. I just wasn't sure. All right. A little bit more dish detergent. I want to be pretty serious with it since there's raw chicken involved. That's the only tricky thing when you use a really big cutting board and your sink is not quite big enough to contain the whole thing. You always have some sticking out of the side. Do the back side too, just to be safe. Oh, I hear ooh, that is simmering over there. I gotta bring that heat down a little bit more. And then we will we'll end out by taking a look at this plated up and taking a look at our thumbnail submissions so far. Now, if people submit later on, that's okay. I'll put an explanation on the story. You don't have to submit while the live stream is going on. I know it's a different night of the week than normal, and I did issue you a funky challenge. And I'm going to start trying to do that a little bit more in the weeks to come. All right. Cutting board is going to be fine. All right, let's go back over here. Let's look at this food. Let's zoom in on that. Look at that. That's wonderful. Now we definitely still have chunks of our curry cubes in here. I can see them as I start moving this around, so that means I really do need to stir for a bit and get them properly mixed in. But now that they've warmed up and been sitting in the heat for a bit, it should be a lot easier to do that. This smells awesome. Oh my goodness. Japanese curry. It's simple. It kind of comes pre-packaged, but it smells so good, dude. We've gone to our favorite Vietnamese place. The last couple times that we went there, my mom tried to order their Vietnamese chicken curry, and they haven't had it. They don't always have it in stock, but it's bummed her out because it's been like every time we've gone in recent memory, they haven't had it. Maybe it's because we came on the weekend and they have it more at the beginning of the week. I'm not sure, but hopefully this is a close second to that. I'm not saying that my Japanese curry is as good as that, but hopefully it's a close second. Part of what helps thicken this up too, I think, is the starch from the potato. Yeah, I'm seeing less and less of the kind of the chunks of those curry cubes in there, so we're just about where we want to be with this. I think I'm good to turn that heat off. Put a clip on these carrots. Okay, let's take a look at our thumbnail submissions. If there's just the one right now, that's okay. Looks like we may just have the one right now. Not a problem. Checking all my messages, my Facebook Messenger, my texts. Okay, here we go. Here's the here's our submission that we have so far. This one's from Abby, and we'll see if any more come in over the next 24 hours or so.
My hair was getting longer and stronger. I'm a lot happier. I feel better than I did in my 20s.
All right, I just pulled it up in preview. Let's see if OBS will grab this immediately, or if I need to. All right, here we go. There's Abby's submission for this week's Let Him Cook thumbnail. So hopefully this gives you some inspiration, right? We are not looking for you to be a deep artist. In fact, if you double down on things looking silly or childlike, that is okay. I just want to issue you a different challenge every week to continually shake things up. But I love this. There's a lot to unpack here. And this dinosaur, this long neck back here, eating or at least admiring this palm tree. I don't know if he's going to eat it, but he looks like that might be his intention. We've got a classic kind of sun with some Toy Story clouds. But apparently I'm lurking in the bushes trying to kill a brontosaurus with a frying pan for some reason. I kind of feel like I'm the bad guy in this scenario, because why did you put me in this situation against nothing but a vegetarian? If this was a velociraptor chasing me, my aggression seems like it would be much more founded. But here, I'm kind of feeling like the frying pan poacher. But you know, you got to do what you got to do. Maybe I'm playing Ark on survival mode. JL says, sending mine shortly. Okay, I'm going to keep an eye out for that as we finish up this recipe. All right, so if we look, our Japanese curry looks beautiful. It's like a big gravy. It's bubbling, smells great. And then really all you have to do, you don't have to make a big fuss out of this. You can eat it in a plate or in a bowl. Often I'll do mine. Now I think it is a more pleasant experience on a plate. So I'm going to plate it, but if I'm just eating leftovers by myself at my apartment, I just stick it in a bowl and mix it together with the rice. But let's look at this plated really quick. Abby says there's no story. I just drew what I could draw. Well, I have a very narrative mind, and I definitely implied a story, whether it was intended or not. So, we're going to dip out some of this white rice here. Mom prepped some basmati for me earlier. I think. Yeah, this is basmati rice. This is long grain basmati. Just kind of heap it up in the center, spread it out a little bit. Sometimes it's nice if you make a little depression in the center of your rice to kind of be the center of the volcano, if you will, to put that curry into. So now we can kind of just dip this out here in the center. Make sure we get some more of the gravy, some more of the sauce. Put that in the center. Clean off that edge. And there we have it. On camera, it probably doesn't look that great, but it smells awesome. And, you know, Japanese dinner time, you would probably flank this with some sides. I don't know, nigiri or some rolls of some sort, or maybe just some vegetables. But it's great on its own too. So, I'm not going to sit here and eat this one. I'm going to go take this. I'm going to go take this to my mom or my grandpa, whoever's hungry. You guys both hungry? You guys both want food? Okay. I'm going to give you a fork and a spoon. It's a fork and a spoon. All right. Let's plate up another one here for Grandpa. Okay, Mom's gonna take that one. That actually may be a little bit too much rice. Let me take a little bit of that back. Don't want to carb overload this thing. Same thing, a little depression in the center. Oh, sorry, you can't see what I'm doing. That's not helpful. Make sure we get some chicken, some protein in there. Awesome. Again, built just like that. Fork and a spoon. Take a little bit of that off the edge. There you go. Got it? And then I'll give you a fork. Oh, sorry. Ah! I'll give you a fork and a spoon for it. There you go. And let me make up one for myself there too. Need something else? What? You just looked like you were looking for something. Oh. It's not very pretty, but it is good. It's chicken curry. It's just chicken, potatoes, and carrots, and onions, and kind of like a gravy, basically. Grandpa's very old school. Everybody, here, say hi to, there's Grandpa over there. He's heading off with his dinner. He was kind of looking at it. He's had this before. I know he likes it because he has eaten it before, but he wasn't quite recalling it in the moment. He's like just kind of looking at it like, what is this? I'm like, let me re-explain to you. Just think of it as chicken and gravy, you know. Great way to explain it to the grandparents. And it looks like we may have just gotten Jacob's thumbnail submission in my inbox. I just saw a notification come through. So, set this aside here. Let's put a lid back on our curry to keep it warm. Set my plate to the side. Let's take a look at what we got here. You know, I don't think it's, he said scent, it may be inappropriate. I don't think it's inappropriate. Not every, okay. And now I feel like I need to explain, hang on. I don't think it's inappropriate. It's just, it's a thing that exists, right? It's just a cosmetic surgery that exists. I don't think it's inappropriate. It's not like you did it to me. Abby already knows. She already knows. Okay, let me pull up Jacob's. Okay, so for reference, here was Abby's. Now we're going to go to Jacob's. There we go. Let him cook. It says, we're winning the World Cup without BBLs. Let him cook with the American flag. Now I feel like I need to explain. I feel like I need to explain what a BBL is. If you don't know what a BBL is, it's a Brazilian butt lift. Is what why is this where we went on this? I'm gonna have to let people vote on this, dog. That's honestly, it's kind of funny. A Brazilian butt lift is a cosmetic surgery procedure in which one's hindquarters are enhanced purely for aesthetic purposes. Is that a pretty good diplomatic way to explain that? Looks like I'm trying to fight South America. Look, South America, I love you. I do. Brazil, I love you. One of my songs, This Love, was on a radio chart, was like number one on a radio station, an FM radio station, for like a month. It was a South American country. I don't remember if it was Brazil specifically, but it was a South American country. So I love you, but I do also think that it's worth all of us being able to laugh at ourselves a little bit. So I don't really think you did anything inappropriate here. I think it's kind of funny. So there it is. There's Jacob's. And one more time for reference.
And get your back to good. Because your body is made to move, and we help it stay in motion. Hinge Health. Everybody.
Yeah, you saw Abby's before. All right, guys. Good hangout as always. Are those Brazilian fans? Are those Brazilian fans in the back too? I guess so. Which probably looks like I'm gonna fight some Brazilians with a pan. Which that I don't. I don't want to do. But maybe you could just spin that as I'm being very patriotic. It is sort of funny though. So I love my Brazilian brothers and sisters. I love you. But it is sort of funny too. Yeah, he's fighting them with the pan. Like it's PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds out there. All I need is like a welding helmet and a beat up plaid shirt that I took off the ground somewhere. Okay guys, I'm going to sit down. I'm going to eat dinner with my family. Thank you for hanging out with me this week on Let Him Cook. As always, I know it was a Thursday night. I know it was different. I'm in Ohio, in Mom's Kitchen. I was coming at you live from Mom's Kitchen. Again, next Friday, The Unchanging drops with me and Tahila. Show it some love. Show her some love. Really excited about this collaboration. And if you've noticed, I've been dropping some reels that feature her all this week to kind of warm up the algorithm and get us connected and get us associated. We dropped a songwriter's edition of a Full House parody a couple of days ago. If you haven't seen that, go to my Instagram, my TikTok, or my YouTube. Look at the shorts and you can find it. It actually got retweeted by one of the guys who was in Jesse and the Rippers, the fictional band, or the band on Full House. Like he saw it and put it on his story, which was super cool. It was referred to him by a guy at our church. So it was neat that it got to somebody that literally is in the Full House show, saw it, acknowledged it, reposted it. It was really funny. So we are so excited. Jacob says, I don't know if I want that submitted or not. Well, here's the thing I'm thinking about. I don't want people to think that I want to go actively fight South Americans. So we can have a conversation about it later. On the one hand, I'm not afraid of a little bit of levity and comedy. On the other hand, I don't want people to think I'm like coming for them. So we can figure that out later. But it's, you know, if you want to do a different one within the next like 48 hours or so, we can do that too. I'm not even, you know, we can just do that. So I'm gonna have dinner with my family. Remember that The Unchanging is dropping next Friday, June the 26th. Stream it, add it to your playlist. You can pre-save it by going to the links in my bio. Jacob says, okay, we'll leave it as an Easter egg in the video. Don't submit that. Perfectly fine with me. I think that's good. I'm not going to take it out of the video because you have the context of me talking about it here. Cool. All right, guys. Until next time, onward and upward. Feel free to hang out in the chat while these music videos play. And I'll see you next time.
No, you can't have any.
Another sunrise as the atoms of the universe revolve. Beauty in your eyes as the harmony of your intent resolve. They sowed discord, but they can't overthrow your melody. My friend and my Lord, I'll stay here and sing of you and me. And I'll stay with you. I'll stay, kept warm in the light of your truth. I will stay. Fading horizons as the sons of earth neglect to stay awake. But I'll make the difference through every single failure and mistake. I sought solution for everything that we were meant to be. My resolution will live forever in eternity. And I'll stay with you. I'll stay, keep warm in the light of my truth. I will stay with you. I'll stay.